couple other things I wanted to talk about, some of the signature things that I do. It's not exclusive to me. I wasn't the first one to use them, but they're real prevalent in my songwriting and also my playing, not only in Fozzy, but in Stuck Mojo and 6-Speed. I use these techniques because they've really become part of my signature, and you'll hear them throughout a lot of the stuff I write. Like at the end of Crucify Yourself, the big open kind of majestic part. The chord I use there, the second chord, is a 9 chord, and the first time I think I ever heard it used was by Queensryche, and I didn't really recognize it as what it was until later on. I always thought they used really cool chords, and of course I never knew what they were. I'm not a trained musician, I'm self-taught, and so the fact that I know what a 9 chord is just based on now my interest in learning the science of music and not just wanting to know what the chords to back and black are, because even though you can know those chords, you'll never play it as good as AC/DC, so why bother? So in any case, this chord, it's a bar chord. You just sure 1/5, but then what I do is, so I'm actually using, instead of the octave, I move the octave up a whole step. Of course, the octave would be there, and this would be the 2, 1, and then the 2. So, and then what you do is you call that 9. This is your root, which would be 1. This would be your 8, and this would be your 9. And it's a chord I use a lot. I've even used it in stuff like 6-Speed tune. I really love that chord. I think it's very cool. It's great to sing over because it allows you a lot of real estate for melodies. Because obviously, the more movement in the chords and the more notes within each chord that you use, the more tapestry you give your singer to write melodies in. So I think it's it's just like old classical music and orchestration. There's so many layers and different notes. They're not all playing in unison. There's different passing lines and stuff. And I think as creative as a guitar player can be, using different chords and trying things outside of their normal bar chords, I think it will help them be a more expressive and a more creative songwriter. The other technique that I use, of course, is something that I first heard with John Sykes, who played guitar for Whitesnake, Thin Lizzy, guys like Vivian Campbell from Dio, and then the guy who mastered it is Zakk Wylde, who plays for Ozzy and Black Label Society. Zakk calls it the ping, I call it the squeal, and that's just the old-fashioned. And what's cool about that is, obviously, hitting the harmonic, which basically is the technique of holding the pick, and then after you strike the note with the pick, you actually touch the string with the meat of your thumb, and that's where it comes from. If I just use the pick, but if I use my thumb to touch it right afterwards, it creates the harmonic, just like anywhere you tap the string, you get harmonic overtones. Old Eddie Van Halen trick. And so, in any case, but this technique is all about vibrato. If I go, nobody's impressed. That doesn't say anything. Once again, it's all about the expression. What I do that's a little different from some guys is Zakk goes straight for the throat. He goes straight into it. What I do when I play it, I bend up in it, and then just like a singer, hold the note for a split second and then let the vibrato take it. So it's, you know, and for me that's cool because when I think of things that I do as a guitar player, I want to try to emulate a singer because that's like the root of all music came from the human voice. You know, percussion, obviously creating rhythms, you know, early man beating whatever rocks with sticks and wood and however the primitive instruments, but the root of all music came from, you know, God's gift of the vocal cords and us creating melodies and things and learning to be expressive. And so I try to use the guitar as an expressive tool, just like I would, you know, use my voice. In To Kill a Stranger, the opening riff, you know, at the very end of the song, you know. And of course you have to make the faces too. That's an essential part of it. I learned that from Yngwie Malmsteen, which not a good example of obviously most people think is a cool guy, but it's something that a lot of old 60s and 70s guitar players did, and I wanted to emulate it. So you have to go. I don't know why. Actually, I would recommend you don't do it. My mother says it looks stupid when I do it. But in any case, that's it, you know, I'll show it in context. 4. And obviously you could find the different spots for you in some of the Mojo stuff that I used to play, and you know, I would do things in different spots, you know. That's of course the most common one. So you can do it. And then you go back to ZZ Top, you know, who are the kings of, you know. You know, and then there's the good, and then how the guy gets the squeal, and you can do it on any string. And so, you know, it doesn't have to be just on the low note, but on the low string on the 3rd fret. But that seems to be the coolest place if you're playing an open C like I do. It just seems to be the best place to grab it. 3rd fret, just a sweet sound of 1. But in any case, that's something you can practice. A lot of people have asked me over the years, how do you get it to sound like that? It's just years of practicing it, and it's not a skill that takes years to learn, but it is something just like you know, like skateboarding or you know, race car driving. The more that you do it, the more you practice it, the more that you'll sound like it's part of your playing and not just some trick or thing that you're trying to pull off that you copied from somebody else. And then once you've got it, and then you adjust it to make it your own, and you know, that's important. By the way, in case you noticed, this hammer here used to belong to Wolf Hoffman and was given as a gift to Eddie DeBerge, the Fozzy webmaster, who was putting together this fantastic DVD for you, and he allowed me to use it here in his home studio as I'm doing this. So all of you people who are currently giving me grief for not playing my Les Paul, listen, Wolf Hoffman from Accept. If you don't know who he is, buy Metal Heart, buy Balls to the Wall, and you'll understand why this guitar is worthy of all play. Balls to the wall, baby. Anyway, those are the 2 little Duke-isms that you will find all over my music, and feel free to steal them, as I have stolen them from other people as well.